Pop quiz hotshot. What does Iname as 1 do? It turns out it doesn't matter. All we care about is that it costs 12 and it can be pitched to both black and green cards. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we're taking a look at a neat deck list that has both top 4'd a challenge at this point, as well as 5-0'd a league. And Iname as 1 is in this deck. As I alluded to in our little stinger here, the text on this card is completely irrelevant. It has 12 CMC and can be pitched to things like Sickening Shoal to gain 12 life, Nourishing Shoal to gain 12 life, or Sickening Shoal to give a creature -12, -12. This is another attempt at a Necrodominance combo deck list that also has Ancient Cellarspawn. Now, I recorded one of these a little while ago, and my overall conclusion on it was that I don't like this style of deck because Necrodominance draw 19 is weird. Soul Spike represents 16 direct damage if you manage to draw all 4 copies of it. Now, Magic players have 20 life. So that means that this deck, unlike some of the decks that are going to do something like gain the ability to play all spells at instant speed and then Tendrils of Agony, they don't necessarily win the turn that they Necrodominance, which can be awkward. However, if you pay 19 life, draw 19 cards, and then regain 12 of that life back, maybe more than 12 of that life if you hit multiple Nourishing Shoals and Iname as 1s, then you just do it again next turn, or you go into your next turn with Ancient Cellarspawn, the ability to cast a spell and just finish your opponent off. And you also have the 1 ring for some redundancy here, as well as the potential, emphasis on potential, to make that 1 ring uncounterable. Otherwise, we see just a handful of rituals and a little bit of disruption to go and keep your opponent off balance while you are trying to do the thing. As far as the sideboard goes, this deck is really about just casting stuff for free and cheating on mana. So the majority of the cards in this sideboard here are free or very, very close to it. This is probably going to be a high variance deck, but it has 5-0 to challenge and 5-0 to league and top 8 at an event, top 4 at an event even. So there's something here as far as power level. Let's see if we can learn how this deck works and see how it is doing. I apologize in advance if this video ends up spiking Iname as 1 and takes it from a sub-dollar card to a $5 card, even though you're not actually going to cast it at all. But if you need your copies of it, promo code ThrabenU will save you 5% on your order over at toamagic.com. You'll also get free free shipping on your copies of this spirit, as well as anything else that you put in your cart. So, let's battle. Alright, so I've got to get myself oriented to this deck list. May take a couple of rounds. I don't have the 3 mana for Necrodominance. I don't have the 4 mana for the 1 ring. And the Nourishing Shoals and Soul Spikes aren't doing anything here. I think I can probably do better than this on average. This I really, really like, believe it or not. I keep this intending on playing a relatively slow game. I have Thoughtseize to punch a hole, and then I have Beautivault. Merfolk? Merfolk. So, we Thoughtseize. Yeah, no, just straight up, it is Merfolk. What does this one do again? It's been a hot minute. So, on attack, draw a card. I don't really want that to happen. My opponent's mana base is currently such that they cannot cast Master of the Pearl Trident on turn 2. They can attack me for 2 with a Mutavault, and that will be fine. I will kind of take some chip damage over the next couple of turns. I'm not going to be at full life when I Necrodominance, but hopefully it does not matter. Ooh! Yeah, I am into that. I think I have another basic too. Oh, God, I have so many basic. Okay. So, Cabal Ritual. I believe I play the Ancient Cellarspawn first. And then next turn, we are going to attempt to Necrodominance into a very, very easy win. All right, we're in play. This Vial is going to tick up to 2, which can allow Mutavault to attack as a 3/3 if that's something that my opponent wants to do. They may end up casting another Lord this turn. All right. Merfolk are uncounterable. There is a Master. This represents a second Master. And if there is no counterspell here, I believe I win. We are not going to attack into Master of the Pearl Trident X2. So I will pay 14 life, draw 14 cards. So let's gain a bunch of life. Now, my opponent is currently at 20. They go down to 6 from that trigger. Then I gain 12 life. Then we will go ahead and do a Soul Spike. Go 4 damage to my opponent's face. This will cost me 2 black cards from my hand. And then this trigger kills my opponent. All right, fantastic. Now, our opponent kept a creature heavy hand, which was good for us. In the future, they could know to have a counterspell heavy hand, though. Merfolk's not really a deck anymore. It's so hard to want to be playing Aether Vial in Legacy right now. You're really just fighting an uphill battle. Time is not as free as it used to be in terms of a resource. It used to be in Legacy, like you could fart around for 4 or 5 turns and accumulate your Aether Vial value. But now there's so many Ancient Tomb decks and so many combo decks that are just trying to get you dead that it becomes much, much harder to extract that value from an Aether Vial. And it often becomes better to just accelerate things out with Anadorks or Rituals or Ancient Tombs. So despite the fact that Thoughtseize negatively impacts my life total, I think I still like it. I'm probably not going to sideboard all that much here, honestly. I will probably play Sickening Shoal just to help me keep from dying. I am eyeballing Veil of Summer. I think I'm going to get rid of these, despite the fact that they help force the one ring through. Actually, sorry, Necrodominance is legendary. This is totally fine. Am I wrong? Do I not need Sickening Shoal? Taking out counterspells still matters. I'm going to try something like this on the draw specifically. This hand has no plan to win. It can attempt to punch a hole with Thoughtseize, but then none of these cards do anything. Yes, absolutely. I will keep this pitching 1 Nourishing Shoal. We have an island, and passing the turn. This means that things like Spell Pierce are currently available. I think I'm just going to play a Mana Dork here. And like if this gets Dazed or Force of Willed or whatever, I'm perfectly fine with that. That is a Dismember. You've got it. That's very bad for me. Yep. It fully doesn't matter if I just draw another land here. Well, that's not true. Like, there's still days and such that my opponent could have. Mutavault and pass the turn. This is not great for me. However, keep in mind that with double Nourishing Shoal here, I have 24 more life than it looks like I have. So, you know, Vial is fine. Yeah. I think I'm discarding a Necrodominance. Sure, this is fine, whatever this is. Yeah, that's fine. So I would like to cast double Nourishing Shoal when I cast Ancient Cellarspawn, which is why I'm not just like casting one of these right now to give me some life. All right, the Mutavault gets fired up. I'm going to take some amount of damage here. 5? 5. All right. Oh, there's more. An actual factual true name Nemesis. Oh, and a Curse Catcher. You've got it. I fully think my plan is this Ancient Cellarspawn. Mutavault gets fired up. 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage. Not looking great. Might have to fire off an initial Nourishing Shoal. So onboard Curse Catcher means that I do just have to normal Thoughtseize here. Actually, I guess I have to Nourishing Shoal prior to the Thoughtseize awkwardly. Otherwise, the Daze effect here gets me. Awkward. That's a Force of Will. That's happening. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 power on board. So I can live if I Nourishing Shoal Iname as one. I'm going to try to be a little cheeky here. Okay, so that gets the Curse Catcher. I'm not going to pay for that. And then I will successfully, hopefully, Nourishing Shoal, buy some time. But it doesn't feel good from this position. Oh god, there was more. What the hell is this one? Tap a creature. Huh, I totally missed this one coming out. It's a Vigilant Merfolk? Weird. Blue doesn't get Vigilance very much. Lord of Atlantis doing so much work here. I think this is the point where I am effectively dead. Yep, I just needed a little more mana that game to get going. Or my Delighted Halfling not to die. If I have mana, casting the One Ring as Fog in the mid-game in those sorts of situations is very strong, but that is a big if. Mana also seems tight to cast Veil of Summer. Okay. If I hit another mana source, I have turn 2 Ancient Cellarspawn, soul spiking my opponent once. That's not actually amazing. I don't think I'm throwing this back, but I'm unhappy about it. We'll keep this pitching Nourishing Shoal, and I will intend on doing a Surveil Land on my turn 1 into the One Ring on turn 2. And then hopefully we draw another relevant card. I'm not expecting the One Ring to resolve here. I just think it's too likely that my opponent has a pitch counterspell. The Surveil. Do not need extra land. I said do not need extra land. I mean, I am just going to fire off the card. The upside of it resolving is absolutely massive. But again, I do not expect this to work. Yep, unfortunately, that is a Force of Will. So now I need, a Necro off the top, an Ancient Cellarspawn off the top, plus a little bit of love beyond that. Another One Ring. Sure, that's fine. The timing on that Thoughtseize is rough for me. I think I cast this immediately prior to trying to resolve something important. New Mutavault. And it looks like the other Mutavault is just going to get in there and rumble, which is fine. The accumulated damage from these 2 power attacks plus fetch lands plus Thoughtseizes is going to mean that my Necrodominance is slowly getting worse, though. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. Hey, it's Necro. We're going to put that on top. So because this is black, 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 and this is currently an island, I cannot Thoughtseize plus Necro. I could just be taking 6 more damage if I give my opponent a turn, though. So I think we're YOLOing here. So this runs into, Spell Pierce, Daze, Force of Will, all that jazz. And we just need to believe. 12. Okay, so I did not draw Nourishing Shoal. That's not great. So I am dead to Mutavault. So I can go ahead and Sickening Shoal, maybe pitching like a Cabal Ritual there. I can Dark Ritual again, but that doesn't really get me anywhere. So I need to save Ancient Cellarspawn. Iname has 1 to pitch to this. Yeah, I'm just going to die to these Mutavaults, I think. I don't get draw steps anymore, and I don't gain any life here. So get rid of you. Yeah, I don't think this works. I think my opponent plays a land, fires up 2 Mutavaults, and then I can't answer both of them. We did not run very well on that Necro draw. Yep, there's the second land drop. I can Sickening Shoal 1 of these, and then die. Assuming that my opponent does fire off both, which unfortunately does happen. Yep, and this is my primary complaint about these Necrodominance decks that don't win the game immediately. When you give your opponent another turn, you often just die. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, just the best place to keep your online deck lists, and the reason I say that is it just has so much functionality. So for example, let's take a look at some random legacy deck here. You can click on your various 2-drop slots and you can see what % chance you have of casting various things on curve, and you can get a breakdown of your mana symbols and all of that stuff, and there's a lot more here than just this. Consider checking it out. YOLO? Land, Dark Ritual, 3 mana, Cabal Ritual, 4 mana, 1 ring. Yep. We either win or we don't. That's how this hand is going to go. Like, this is very much a Force of Will check hand, where my chance of winning is incredibly high if my opponent does not have Force of Will, and incredibly low if they do have Force of Will. So, Cabal Writ. Alright. Good game. We lose. And I hate to say it's as simple as that, but it is. Wooded Foothills. So we want another ritual here. I will accept land. That's good enough. So my opponent will probably have a surveil land of their own here. After seeing like Brazen Borrower and Force of Negation, I think we're probably going to be in the blue-red Delver ballpark. Keeping in mind that when I say blue-red Delver, sometimes there is going to be Tropical Island for questing Druid. Oh shit, slightly off with my analysis. It is Rhinos instead. Yeah, okay. So a lot of this game is just purely going to come down to what my next draw looks like. If my next draw is just a land, and I can go land the One Ring, buy a turn, fog, maybe I can get an Ancient Cellarspawn kill on the following turn. Well, I mean, okay, my opponent had double counterspell backup for turn 2 Rhinos. We are playing against the sort of decks we do not want to play against. We do not want to play against blue decks that can produce a clock quickly. That is probably consistently going to feel very bad. Well, I mean, we live a turn, but it sure doesn't feel good. My opponent spent 3 mana to produce 10 power, which is just like so much of a better rate than what our Merfolk opponent was doing as well. Eating 10 damage. Cabal Ritual would do it if not for the Wasteland. We have 4 cards in graveyard. We do not have Threshold. Oh wait, this is 10 damage. I am not technically dead yet. I will go to 2. Oh, do you have Violent Outburst for lethal? Yeah, alright, sure. I have already conceded. So, I don't know what happened there. I don't really know if I have time for Veil of Summer. I'm going to do it, but I don't really know that I have time. I think Sickening Shoal is fine. It feels to me like answering one Rhino while leaving a secondary Rhino is not fantastic, though. This doesn't do anything with the Ancient Cellarspawn. I don't think I'm into this hand. This is fine. I will keep this. Like, that land is an ETB tapped land, which is not great. So hopefully Delighted Halfling lives, and I just get to slam Necrodominance and win or very close to it immediately. Well, shit. All right. So now my best draw would probably be a Ritual off the top. Thoughtseize is not bad. Take that. Good enough to get my opponent to respond. Violent Outburst off Double Spirit Guide in response. All right. Sure. Anyway, my Necrodominance is looking great. We will take the Shardless Agent here. Can't even cycle Veil of Summer right now. Opponent gets to Surveil while whacking me for 8. And this is just making it very hard for Necrodominance to produce a win. I mean, we've got to try. This just feels pretty bad. I have a Nourishing Shoal, so we're hoping to hit an Iname as 1. Alright, we did. A Nourishing Shoal, pitching Iname as 1 to gain 12 life. The next turn I can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we can try to do some One Ring things from here. I guess it can be Bayou instead. So Thoughtseize, land, keep 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe the following land as well. Maybe Unmask. But if I draw a Cellarspawn, I can get that show on the road. I take 8 back. I'm at 5. And Brazen Borrower on the Necro, which actually means I get a draw step. So that was just objectively wrong from my opponent. They should wait to do that until... Well, I guess there's stuff that looks like this. Huh, weird. Alright, so land drop. We're just ignoring Necro now and doing One Ring things for a couple turns. Yes. So 3 mana, 4 mana, 1 ring. I think I don't unmask this turn. We're not expecting days from my opponent's Cascade deck. I'll go ahead and draw here. There is a basic swamp. I think I am comfortable passing the turn here. Uro is fine. I don't think I care about that small of an amount of life gain. Like, I much more care about the following One Ring getting countered or something like that. So I take 1 here. Iname as 1 is potentially a good draw. Soul Spike is just another One Ring this turn. Just try to keep holding out for as long as possible before playing cards. I think so. Again, we're expecting this to resolve here. can draw this card now. So we really just want an Ancient Cellarspawn. And if beggars can be choosers, I would like Ancient Cellarspawn and Nourishing Shoal. Cycling is fine. So I'm now out of One Ring Fogs. I'm at 3 life. Am I at Surveil Land? Get 1 card deeper looking for Cellarspawn and Nourishing Shoal and such? I think I probably am. Oh, the 1 life matters a lot, though, from the 1 ring. Ooh. Fire. That's very inconvenient. We'll target a Rhino token. Junk. 2 Necrodominances there. I'll live through that. But there's still a 4/4 Rhino on board now. That has 4 power for my 4 life. Land I do not want. 1 ring draw. This has trample. Not technically dead, right? Very likely to be dead. But I believe I am still running on an out. So I block, take 2, and then with the 1 ring trigger on the stack, I need to draw Nourishing Shoal at 2. So trigger, draw. You have another fire. Yeah, okay. I mean, sure. We are dead. GG's. Okay, I do not like this opening hand here. It just doesn't have anything to do. We'll mulligan this. This is fine, I guess. But again, the Necrodominance hands don't actually win the game. So, you know, that's a thing. So, oh, well, that spell resolved real fast. So, let's try to do the thing. 19 life. Oh god, I didn't draw an Iname as 1. That's not great. Okay. Soul Spike you, exiling a Necro and a Thoughtseize. Soul Spike you, exiling a Necro and a Cabal Ritual. I am at 9. So then I will keep Dark Ritual, Ancient Cellarspawn, Nourishing Shoal, land, like a 1 ring. All right, we'll see what happens. Those are interaction colors. Thoughtseize is very, very, very strong here. So I lose out on the Dark Ritual. So I will need to do some fair Necro stuff here. Or I could just like fucking draw 8 and see what happens. Huh? 8? Surely there's an Iname as 1 in my top 8 cards, right? See, I told you, everything's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to cast it right now. I think that's perfectly fine. And then we can discard you. Second land drop from opponent. Oh no, opponents got their own combo stuff going on. They're probably Doomsday. They are. So Ancient Cellarspawn plus any 1 pitch spell should kill my opponent. It is possible I could die immediately here. I find that unlikely since my opponent has not cast any cantrips this game, but it is certainly possible. So we're just going to take a quick look. All right, so opponent's deck does have Daze, does have Force of Will, does have Personal Tutors for going fast. Am I dead now? I am dead now. That's unfortunate. So there is a Consider, a second cycle, a third cycle, and a Thassa's Oracle. 0 cards in hand, 0 cards in library. Yep. I mean, I don't want to beat the dead horse, but if you don't win when you execute your combo, you give your opponent a turn. There's very little I can do to improve myself versus this deck. My opponent often will not cast 3 cards in the same turn to be hit by Mindbreak Trap. I could Veil of Summer for protection. I probably will. It's slow. I could Surgical Extraction to attempt to mess up a Doomsday pile. That's not super exciting either. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of Sickening Shoal since it's a little hard to get a target for it. Not impossible, but a little hard. This has no starting mana source. This has mana, but is incredibly slow and does not interact with my opponent. I don't think I can keep this. Yikes, the 5-card hand is not good either. So I can keep 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and be a little bit redundant versus a piece of discard or 1 counter spell. I think I just have to hope that my opponent's hand is kind of bad. I think they will outspeed us on average. Underground Sea into Thoughtseize. So I'm going to lose one of my 2 good cards here. I have lost the Necro, which might actually be the worst of my 2 cards. I think Ancient Cellarspawn is just better. I'm going to say no to that. I think I just desperately need land 3 for Ancient Cellarspawn, and I think I need to dig towards it. You've got a Ponder on the other side, and a fetch to clear it, but it's not happening just yet. That's not great. I will probably cycle this Veil of Summer if my opponent gives me the opportunity to do so. Don't like it when my opponent keeps their cards on top. We get to do better than just cycling it. Lol, JK. Like, I'm still going to end up with an Ancient Cellarspawn at the end of this. So, like, that's not the worst. But I still just am not playing Magic here. Alright. Well. Well, I guess I'll take the Force of Will. Mana is unlikely to be a bottleneck at this point. My opponent will probably just play out their Lotus Petals immediately, even if they don't Doomsday right now. Oh, but they did Doomsday right now. I believe I am on no outs to win the game, because I can't Ancient Cellarspawn and then cast something else. So assuming that my opponent sets up a pile that wins the following turn, I believe that they always win. Alright, so my opponent is at 7 after that Doomsday. This requires 2 black cards, so Soul Spike is not live. I cannot cast any spells. That's fine. There is a Street Wraith. And there's Thassa's Oracle. GG's. Alright, my first hand has to be a mulligan here. The hand simply does not do anything. The second hand is probably a keep. I can have turn 2 Necro, but I can't do so with Unmask backup. As of right now, I would need to draw a black card. There's a few different ways I can play this one. I can keep the 1 ring so that I have a backup thing to do, and so that I'm better versus something like a Thoughtseize or a single counterspell. I can get rid of a land. I think I'm going to get rid of a land. Got a mountain on the other side of the battlefield. So drawing that second Necro there, I think I'm going to go ahead and unmask pitching a Necro. We need to potentially stop something like a Trinosphere from coming down immediately. Oh, okay. That's a weird hand to keep. My opponent kept 7. This is awkward. So my opponent can't currently cast the Show and Tell, but Show and Tell Omniscience Emrakul is there. They can't currently cast the Sneak Attack, but Sneak Attack Emrakul is there. I think this is another one of those times where I'm going to attempt to do the Necro thing, and then my opponent is going to kill me on the following turn that they get. I think I'll take this Sneak Attack. So there's the city that we know about. So, Cabal Ritual, Necro, and we're going to try to set up for a win next turn. Do this for 19. Alright, so there's Iname as 1. There's Ancient Cellarspawn. So let's plan this out. So if I have a Nourishing... Oh my god, oh fuck, I have all 4 Iname as 1s here. Oh god, that's so bad. Okay, we'll figure that out next turn. Alright, so let's do one of these now. Let's do one of these now. No Dark Rituals. I'd like to keep an Ancient Cellarspawn, Sickening Shoal, and Iname as 1. I should win at my next end step. So land, Ancient Cellarspawn, Sickening Shoal, that stuff is necessary. Iname as 1 is nice. I could keep Unmask in there as well, I guess. Seems fine. Oh, I guess also I should think about Show and Tell. Let's keep the second Ancient Cellarspawn, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't need this. 6. Okay, well, we win because we're lucky. My opponent drew an ETB tapped land instead of an untapped land. So they sinkhole themselves. They don't have blue mana for Show and Tell. They junk a Ponder. So, I cast Ancient Cellarspawn. I will pay 16 life and go to 1. Then Nourishing Shoal, pitching that to deal 12 damage to my opponent directly. And then We will send this at my opponent's face, pitching 2 black cards. I think if my opponent is 5% luckier, we lose that game. I think if my opponent mulliganed their hand, we also lose that game. But they kept a City of Traders mountain hand that had high upside but 0 agency. So they did not cast a spell this game. So how much do I want to interact with my opponent? I could attempt to Force of Vigor permanents that are put into play. I could attempt to Veil of Summer to protect my stuff from counter spells. I think sometimes I win the game by just putting in an Ancient Cellarspawn off my opponent's show and tell, and then executing my combo without actually casting a spell. Well, a spell that I care about being countered more accurately. Every black card I cut is one card taking away one card from a Soul Spike being reasonable. This is like a 2-card hand. None of this stuff just does anything. Same thing. There is no game plan to win the game here. We'll be going to 5. Yeah. Never unmask. I'm gonna imagine that I need to keep the Thoughtseize. Don't feel good about this. Well, hopefully we just punch a hole in my opponent's hand. Sure. Let's see what my opponent names here. I think the correct name is Ancient Cellarspawn. They chose Necrodominance. I am going to just take the Ponder. I'm going to try to hold out. My opponent could top deck Show and Tell and could put Atraxa into play. I get a lot more value out of this unmask if I wait. I don't know that I'm willing to wait in like 2 turns, but I can wait to see if my next card is a Dark Ritual or Cabal Ritual to power out Ancient Cellarspawn now. My opponent keeps with the Ponder. I think I have to unmask immediately. So the scary card should be the top card of my opponent's library, not a card that is currently in their hand. So we are going to take the Atraxa that I know about, and I am assuming that the top card of their deck is some Sneak Attack or Show and Tell type card. We will Surveil. Yeah, no, that's great. That is exactly what I need to make the Ancient Cellarspawn good. I just need raw cards. I have mulliganed and gone down cards for Unmask. So there's the Cellarspawn. All right, we're in play. Now I still need more stuff. Like I need a land to play the One Ring. My opponent could, double top deck into a way to combo off. Necrodominance is not currently a strong draw. All right, there's the land that we know about. It is a Show and Tell. Let's stop yielding, huh? I will put in the One Ring. I'll draw a card. A new One Ring. But my opponent can get a counterspell back up here. And my opponent's lifelink here probably outpaces Ancient Cellarspawn. Yeah, so my opponent has Force of Will, blue card here. I've got some perfects that could get me through this turn, but I really need multiple different specific cards here. All right. Oh, that gets cheaper. Look at that. They work together because they're friends. This might get the Force of Will. I mean, it probably should. Because otherwise I can just yeah, so my opponent could have died, therefore letting this resolve. They don't this time, because I don't have 2 black cards in hand. But I think that was a very, very, very important card to counter. I think I will beat the Atraxa next turn with 2 Ancient Cellarspawns in play, plus 4 more cards in hand. It's possible that my opponent just combos off again, but I don't think I mind the 7 damage and 7 life here. I will draw. Oh, those were bad draws. Wow, 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 those were bad draws. I did not draw a single black card in 4 draws to go with the Soul Spikes. That is incredibly tilting. Yeah, so I'm going to cast the One Ring and then die. Oh my gosh, this is so tilting. Yeah. Alright. That's very frustrating. I want one more Force of Vigor now that I know that my opponent is also doing Disruptor Flutes. Do I want Sickening Shoal for Atraxa type threats? Kind of where I'm at. I think I'm going to say 2 of those is fine. This is a Force of Will check hand, where if my opponent has Force of Will, I just lose. I don't think I am supposed to mulligan it, but it sure doesn't feel good. So, let's do the thing, shall we? So we throw down Necro, and I just lose the game if this does not resolve. Yep. Ancient Tomb from my opponent. And now I'm in a 0 agency situation for a couple of turns. Maybe my opponent plays a show and tell. I get to put in something and do an attempt to go off, but I am currently unable to take game actions. Looks like my opponent can't either. They just mulliganed 2 Force of Will. And that is fine. Yeah, I mean, does my opponent die if they cast show and tell, actually? I put in Ancient Cellarspawn. I have 14 initial damage and am 1 card away from having lethal with show and tell. Yeah, you get to keep your show and tell. I will take Atraxa. Weird spot. An opponent is just passing the turn here. Alright, there is my black card I need. So now I have theoretical lethal if my opponent casts show and tell. I draw sneak attack instead. Cool. Cool. Sounds about right. I will be discarding here. Discard the One Ring. My opponent can put me to 2 by sneak attacking in Emrakul. There's a land drop. Did you draw another creature off the top as well? Alright, you are just brainstorming. That's fine. Alright, so now we see the Emrakul. This is going to be a weird thing to say out loud, but it's only dealing me 15 damage and annihilating 1 permanent. I am at 2. I still have lines that lead to a win, such as Swamp and Dark Ritual being my top cards of deck. Go ahead and do a little unmask here so that I do not have to discard. I'll take the Brainstorm. You may keep your show and tell. That is an actively helpful card for me. We are temporarily in a situation where I don't have the bonus black card that I need. Alright, I get more turns. Land drop. Just 2 more of this. And my opponent not having a counterspell. Alright. Exciting magic. I mean, every turn I wait is horrifying, so go for it. Attempt Ancient Cellarspawn. I win if this resolves. Cool. Cool. It's fine. The next 2 cards will be Dark Ritual and another one. It is a sneak attack activation. Or an Atraxa. I need to cast a Nourishing Shoal here to stay alive. Or at least attempt to stay alive. I could cast a second one here so that my opponent can't hit creature Force of Will blue card and kill me. But I really need to keep this stuff in hand to do Ancient Cellarspawn things. That's going to be Force of Will, Show and Tell, Sneak Attack, Atraxa, and a land. With another Force of Will and another Atraxa. I'm gonna move on. We cannot win at this stage, unfortunately. Okay, so we can have a turn 3 Necrodominance that does not win the game into maybe turn 4 the One Ring. It does not feel like this is a competitive paced hand for Legacy. I'm gonna mulligan. The gods hate me. It is the only explanation. So now we just have like mono mana. Gotta Goldilocks this shit. Okay, yeah, no, this is fine. We're gonna keep this. The dream is probably play Ancient Cellarspawn, play... I probably have to do it the other way. I'm gonna get rid of the One Ring and Iname as 1, I think. My opponent gets to go first, so I can sculpt my first turn based around what they do. How about not a blue deck? Because we sure as fuck aren't beating blue decks. Oh, we're playing against Oops All Spells instead. That's fine. That's fine. Well, I think I Necro and try to set up an Ancient Cellarspawn win for next turn. So we will pay 19. Note that there is a chance that my opponent is just some mono-black mid-range deck. Alright, so Nourishing Shoal, pitching an Iname as 1. Looks like we have another Iname as 1. Do I just want to gain that as life? Do I want to save that for you? I'm going to just gain that as life. Yeah. Soul Spike, you. pitching some cards. Soul Spike you. Pitching some cards. The next turn, I have Dark Ritual, Ancient Cellarspawn, maybe an immediate Unmask for a little damage. I just discard a shit ton of lands. Yeah, literal 7 lands discarded. I think we're okay if we are playing against a mono black deck of some kind, and probably dead if this is just going to be oops. Ah, an Unmask. No bueno. Oh, that's wrong. That is just an objective misplay. My opponent took my Unmask. I am at 33 life. They needed to take the Dark Ritual there to not let me put Ancient Cellarspawn in play. That was a very, very big punt. So I will draw 32. Honestly, I should have just typed it. All right. Soul Spike. Target you. Pitching some cards. Ancient Cellarspawn trigger. We dodged so many bullets there. I just want to clarify. We just put a win on the board, but my opponent could not go off on turn 1 or turn 2. They then unmasked me and chose the wrong card when I was not going to get a draw step. I am Neo, dodging bullets. Oh. All right. Mindbreak Trap, great. Surgical Extraction, great. Fairy Macabre, not very exciting. Veil of Summer, not very exciting. Sickening Shoal, not very exciting. My plan for winning this matchup is getting lucky. Fully, absolutely just getting lucky is the plan. Sickening Shoal can go. Those are going to become Mindbreak Traps. Veil of Summer feels slow. I don't think I'm boarding that. The One Ring is pretty slow here. I'm going to turn the One Ring into black cards, I think. Notably, the Surgicals and Fairies may not actually stop my opponent from executing a combo. Yeah, okay. I don't think I can pitch a hand with that much interaction. So the hope here is that my opponent does not turn 1 me through Surgical, and then I can do Thoughtseize, Surgical, Unmask, Crimes. Hey, let's not get carried away there. Flex Toast, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Huh? Let's talk. That is a spy. So I don't imagine my Surgical saves me here. All right, so there is a Poxwalkers. There is a Bridge from Below. How many cards can my opponent cast from Graveyard? And is there a Jack-o'-lantern? There is a Jack-o'-lantern. So Memory's Journey is a thing. So I can Memory's Journey Thassa's Oracle, at which point I will just die to zombie attacks from Bridge from Below. I can take out Narcomoeba, at which point my opponent just Memory's Journeys a Narcomoeba that I target, and then still, so I don't take all of them and still Dread Returns. I take the Dread Return, at which point my opponent, yeah, no, this Surgical is not going to get me there. I will attempt to take out a Narcomoeba, but it does not matter. And this is why on the Eternal Glory podcast. All right, so they let me take the Narcomoebas. So they could stop this with Memory's Journey, or they could just let it happen, and then I think just Cabal Therapy me a couple of times and still Thassa's Oracle anyway. Yeah, this extra floating mana here, real rough for me. And at this point, I can see the win on board. I'm just going to save my time. Illusion of my cards doing something. My hand doesn't do anything. I cannot get to 3 mana for this. I don't have my second initial mana source. So this hand can unmask my opponent to get through turn 1, but then cannot actually cast a Necrodominance. And even if I do cast a Necrodominance, it's not really guaranteed to win me the game. I'm going to try to go to 5. Yes. This is fine. The 1 Ancient Cellarspawn goes back. I think I'm throwing back land. So my goal is to just create as stacked of a hand as I can to make it to turn 2. So I will do a fair Necro here. I'll get to draw 19 cards and try to build a 5-card hand that makes it to my turn 2. With my opponent being on 5 cards, there's a pretty big chance that I can survive a turn. All right, okay, good. I was starting to get worried. All right, so Nourishing Shoal. Pitch one of these, immediately recoup some losses. I'll start sending some damage at face. Looks like I have a couple of surgical and fairy type cards. So this is good. And another one at face. All right, I guess I need to pick the cards that I'm keeping. So I keep Dark Ritual, Ancient Cellarspawn, Fairy, Surgical. Yeah, I'm not keeping that Ritual. And that means I'm also not keeping this Iname as one. I can get rid of that as well. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thoughtseize on Dark Ritual is pretty annoying here. Opponent's at 5. That is a Thoughtseize. Oh, okay. We win. My opponent did not take the correct card. I mean, I'm happy about that. But that's the second time where my opponent has used a discard spell on me and taken the wrong card so that I can win the game instead of probably losing the game. So I draw 24. So Nourishing Shoal, junking Iname as one for a lethal trigger. And we put a match win on the board, but it happening because my opponent just did not stop my onboard win. It feels really bad. All right. Overall thoughts on the deck list. This one is not for me. I do not think this deck is very good. I have, for a long time, been a believer that Necrodominance decks that do not win the game on the spot are just very, very bad. The reduced hand size, the skipping of draw steps, and giving your opponent an extra turn, those are just like 3 strikes against this card. So this deck kind of ends up being an A plus B combo deck that then requires you to also have a life total, and then sometimes you just brick on bad combinations or color ratios of cards when you take your draws. I do not like how this plays out. I think this is just objectively worse than the Turbo Necrodominance decks. I don't think you are actually very good at playing a long, grindy game. On 18 lands, a lot of times you use your first ritual effect to power out your first attempt, and then the second wave of stuff gets stuck in your hand. And I think the large number of bad cards, air quotes, that you are playing to make it so that you can support the Ancient Cellarspawn just results in a bunch of mulligans. So this one gets a thumbs down from me. As I think every Ancient Cellarspawn Necrodominance deck that I've ever played has also gotten. It is a cool theory, and I'm glad this worked for an opponent. But I believe we put 1 match win on the board today, and multiple game wins that I only got because my opponent just misplayed, maybe just not understanding what my deck was trying to do to win. And when I am only picking up wins when my opponent makes mistakes, that's a bad sign of deck power. So, don't think Iname as one is going to spike based on this performance. But should you need any other cards, you know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU will save you a little bit of money when you do. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. All right, no more Necrodominance. See ya.